Sure, Buffet too. I'm back again with another video. Uh, no, what's like no mona le one fellow guys. One le scam sausage. I say majitana na Africa that they are running on as well. Yeah. Banana bari. So this thing, yeah, Pan-Africanism, guys, because the people that are advocating for bongata ba bona batho ba lwanelang Pan-Africanism ke batho be leng hore ba ipatlela fela menyetla in other people's countries that are more developed than their own. So instead of them doing the work, you develop a country tsa bona ba haketse, trying to bully other countries into accepting this one Africa Pan-Africanism. Why? So that they can gain greater access to do what they need to do. Batho bana ha ba kgathalle batho ba Africa. I'm telling you right now, ke scam ntho e ba e mathang ke. Ntho e ba e etsang ke scam. And I'm trying to warn South Africans, don't fall for this, guys. But Tubana, they don't love Africans. I'm telling you, they don't care about Africans. If they cared, they'd be working overtime to try to develop countries instead of fighting African countries to give them access. That's all this about. These people but claim Africanism. It's a scam. Don't fall for it. Tubana, they don't care Africans. I promise you. Want to know? Go look at what they've done to help to develop their neighborhood, to help to develop their own country. That's how you prove to us you're a true Pan-Africanist. You start your own country. You fix your country first before crying to other countries to give me. You come to Africa, give us this, give us this, give us this. And when the indigenous people say no, because indigenous South Africans have had everything stolen from them. We are till this day, 400 years later, we're still fighting for our stuff back. Now these Africans, they want to come and also take from us. South Africa is not just a holiday. You can just come here and take. No, that's not how it works. We are a sovereign, we have sovereign nations within South Africa, our own kingdoms, our own way of life, our own culture, our own ways of doing things. We will not accept and we will not be bullied by people that think they know better than us about our own country. So I want to give you some examples. Yadi bari, but ba tsheganeng fela, ba dom. Ba batlang go bolela ona re tlameha re etseng ka naha ya rona. Nana fela. Batho bana bantena because they're hiding under the thin veil of Pan-Africanism. And it's nothing more than a scam. These people don't care about Africans. They don't care. They don't care about black people. They care about themselves. They're trying to create more access and opportunities for themselves to enjoy a soft life. For example, Exhibit A, here's one of them. He likes to pose as a Pan-Africanist, likes to talk about African issues and make himself look like he cares about, but he's a very arrogant guy. He likes to talk condescendingly and he hates black South Africans because he's jealous of black South Africans. He wants to preach to black South Africans and tell them what to do because he believes that South Africans are xenophobic. That's the narrative that's being pushed by these so-called Pan-Africanists to try to give black South Africans a bad name so they can come in and replace us. That's the ultimate agenda. These Africans are working together with our colonizers in Africa to exterminate black South Africans because these Africans want to replace us. They're actually serving the agenda of the white colonial master who seeks to genocide black South Africans and remove us out of South Africa and replace black South Africans with a new slave labor force, a compliant slave labor force, which is apartheid. We fought apartheid. We have human rights in South Africa so that we cannot be exploited anymore like what used to happen. And now these Africans are fighting to be exploited by the same white people that we are resisting. We refuse to work in our own land for peanuts because what we want is the land. Employment is just a small piece of the pie. We want the whole thing because we are the indigenous people of South Africa. We want to control our own means of production. We want our land and cattle that has been stolen from us. We don't want these little peanuts, these stompies that they're throwing around that Africans are dying over, coming to our country to try to exploit the little opportunities available for the citizens. So when you come to South Africa, as an African, and you are helping the colonial master by accepting a slave wage, you are helping to keep apartheid alive. We fought against apartheid. And in retaliation, the white colonizer is now just outsourcing the labor, but they're not transforming. They're not changing. They're still holding on to the land. They're still holding on to the economy that they stole from us. So when we fight against them and our so-called fellow African brothers and sisters cross the border to come and assist them, by speaking down on black South Africans and say black South Africans are lazy, black South Africans. Yes, that's the rhetoric that comes from the colonial master. Little do you guys know You guys don't know the dynamics of South Africa. You think you know. You think you guys are experts on South Africa and South African history. You don't know. You don't. Even if you've just come to visit here and there, you are not native to the South African land. Everybody, every nation, every tribe has its own territory. You can't just say all of Africa is yours. That's ridiculous. That's like me saying, because I'm a citizen, I was born in the world, the whole world belongs to me. That means I can go to any country and they must give me what I want. All my requests must be met because we're one human race. You sound retarded. You sound stupid. That's not how logical people think. Every nation has its own rules and regulations and guidelines. And in South Africa, unfortunately, Black people are being targeted, just like we were during apartheid, by the colonial masters who are in control of everything. Just because South Africa has a black government or black president doesn't change anything. It's neo-colonialism. The white colonizer has installed their own black leaders to serve the same agenda that they always served, which is to oppress Black people. It's as simple as that. So there's no, oh, this is xenophobia. No, these are very small-minded people that like to default to the xenophobia argument. So this is one of the people here. This guy on his channel, he hates Black South Africans. He's jealous of Black South Africans. He's always talking down on Black South Africans as if he knows better about our country than, or more about our country than we do. He speaks a lot about African issues and he pretends to be a Pan-Africanist. But really, he's just another one of these so-called Pan-Africanists that's a scammer. The Pan-Africanism is a scam now, guys. You must understand that these people don't care about Africans. They care about themselves and giving themselves access to resources from more developed African countries under the guise of Pan-Africanism. South Africans are not falling for it. And you should see in his comments, this guy's getting cooked by South Africans because we're not falling for this scam. Each country, each nation, you must fight for what you want to see in your own country. Then we can start talking about unifying Africa and coming together. As long as countries and nations are divided within the same country, we cannot start talking about one Africa. You must first fix your individual problems within your country. You must fix your governments. You must fix everything. Many of these countries are failed states. Fix and correct that before we can start preaching Pan-Africanism. It's a step-by-step process. You guys are jumping way, way, way too ahead. Fix your country first and stop forcing people to subscribe to your Pan-Africanist agenda. Not everybody is ready to do what you want them to do at the time you want them to do it. And to try to emotionally blackmail them and manipulate them into serving your agenda is nonsense. That's authoritarian. We don't subscribe to what your beliefs are in terms of what you want to see for Africa. If you want this so badly, become the president of Africa and rule Africa so we can see how you do it. Africans can barely govern themselves in their own countries. There are still many conflicts and things that they are fighting, neo-colonialism being the main thing, the main enemy. Until we get that right, I don't want to hear you guys preaching about Pan-Africanism. It's just a scam to allow these people to gain access to more developed African countries. That's all it's about. These guys don't care about Africa. I'm telling you. Listen to this nonsense of this guy. I'm going to expose all of them so you guys can see. Or some of them. I mean, there's a laundry list of people to expose. But this guy is one of them here. Listen to this nonsense.
Don't be afraid.
Oh, look at the stupid title. He says, no more excuses. They're not illegal. So act like them. This is retarded. He's saying we should emulate the behavior of criminals that are crossing the border illegally. No, dude, there are rules and regulations. Even pre-colonization, nations and tribes existed in order. And for you to come from another tribe and just infiltrate another a tribe that was not yours was not something that was normal. You would be asked questions because we had natural borders. There were mountains, there were rivers, and even language was a border. So to sit here and act like we didn't move in tribes and that we didn't move as nations and establish ourselves as nations is nonsensical. We had natural borders and we respected those borders. You were not allowed to, at least let me just speak for South Africa. You were not allowed to just move from the Zulu kingdom into the Basotho kingdom unannounced. It didn't work like that. We had rules. There was order. There was law and order that needed to be followed. Until this day, there still is. You're not going to come and dictate to us about our own countries and tell us how we should exist.
I believe it is natural when you see somebody that doesn't necessarily look like you or somebody that looks like a foreigner that you feel like, how do I start? You train your spirits for that. You've got to train.
Ari, listen to this nonsense. I mean, the level of condescension to speak down and say, oh, you train your spirit. No, you're not anybody's father. Hebatu, we are sovereign nations. We will do as we please. You will not dictate to us what we will do. Talking about train yourselves as if we're some kind of animal that needs to be trained. So now, sir.
Yourself to say hello. Hi, how are you? A lot of elements on the internet that can train you how
I
to
mean,
start a
this is
conversation.
so
Why do I say
condescending.
this? Instead of hating people,
You see, they always default to, oh, you're hating, yo, it's xenophobic. No, you're teaching us people that all about Ubuntu. Inside of Ubuntu, we treat each other with respect. In some of the African countries, they're killing their fellow Africans. They're blowing their heads off. We just saw recently some of the events that are happening in Nigeria at Benue State. They're killing their own fellow Africans. Those are things you should be reporting on and talking about. Leave South Africa alone. This guy, he's shading South Africans as if we don't know he's talking about us. But these are the type of people that are preaching Pan-Africanism, that are actually jealous of Black South Africans and that wish with all of their hearts that we get wiped out so that Africans can come and replace us as the Black slave labor force for apartheid colonial masters. People that claim that we worship whites are flocking into South Africa to work for whites at slave wages. So, guys, this is that South African land is ours. It belongs to us. We've shed blood for 400 years over that land, eliminating apartheid and all different types of colonial regimes and laws. You're not about to set us back now and try to infiltrate and invade us so you can benefit and reap where you did not sow. There are no freebies. Go back to your country and fight for the country that you want to see. These things you're begging South Africa for, go beg for them from your own governments. Stop trying to bully and emotionally manipulate us. Listen to this guy talking down to us as if we're some animals that he must now train on how to be civilized. This is xenophobia. So,
that are doing great things, even if it is in your country, go learn from them. I mean, one of the reasons why
the problem is you are ignorant. You don't know that a lot of the people that are making their money in South Africa are doing it illegally and they're getting help from government officials. Hence why we are protesting against the government every other day. We're protesting against many different things. The problem is you don't understand the inner workings of what's going on in our country. You are not South African. You don't know the movements that are on the ground, grassroots, not what the media is feeding you in your country, lying about us, calling us xenophobic and acting as if we hate Africans. These are the nonsense narratives that are being perpetuated in African countries about South Africans. Why? Because of jealousy. Listen to this guy.
we on earth, it's also a journey of learning.
You know, it's funny. People want to preach to us and tell us, oh, we must learn from them. Many of these African countries received independence before South Africa did. What did they do with their independence? Nothing. That's why they're flocking to South Africa looking for greener pastures, because they failed to develop their countries. Now they want to preach to us and tell us that we must learn from them. Learn what? Go teach us by fixing your countries. Then we will learn through the results you produce in your own country. But don't come to our country and come preach to us as if you guys are doing something better with your country. You guys have had, some of you, 60 years of independence. You've done fuck all, nothing. But you want to come to South Africa and preach to us and tell us how to be successful. Go be successful in your own countries.
It's about learning new things, learning how other people rate. No, you're not the best. You're definitely not. Stop lying to yourself. You are not.
Neither are you.
I think you think, but you're not. Yeah, go learn from other people. You see somebody doing something good, you appreciate it. Be humble.
Imagine trying to force somebody to accept your tutelage. You don't want to give them the choice to reject you. You want to force them. You must learn from me, learn from us. Yeah, so you are hating. How are we hating? We're in our country, enjoying our country. You are the ones trying to invade. How are we hating? Go live in your own country and produce the things you are begging from South Africa in your own country. How are we hating? We are in our own country, minding our own business. It's these people that are coming to our country trying to infiltrate us, that are preaching to us about what we need to do and how we must behave. I mean, the audacity, guys. You can't make this shit up.
Enough to say, I really am touched by like, how do you do this? Please explain.
But that's not how we feel about you guys. We don't admire you. You can't force us to like, this is ridiculous. These guys want to force us to look up to them. They want to force us as if we are incapable of doing what's necessary for our country. We are fighting for our state. It's easy to go private, but we want a functional state that provides for the needs of everybody, because we pay taxes and we have rules and regulations that are not being met by the government. So we are fighting for the state to do its job. You guys don't know how to fight for your state. So you establish all of these private enterprises while the common man suffers. We don't need to learn anything from you. You have failed states. Fix your countries first.
To me, you live in a country in Africa where nationals come and start businesses and it flourishes instead of hating on them.
You don't know what's really happening. If you're talking, for example, the sponsorships of the Pakistanis, it's a mafia. The government is helping these are mafia organizations that are saying Black South Africans cannot open spaza shops because they want to control the monopoly. You don't understand what you're talking about. You're looking from the outside in, and you've been programmed with the xenophobia propaganda to believe that South Africans are jealous of you guys, but we're in our country. You don't know the half of what's going on in South Africa and the level of corruption. You have no idea.
And saying they're doing illegal things. Are they doing illegal things? Some of them are doing illegal things.
You see, he acknowledges, but he wants to sweep it under the rug as if it's not an important issue. Like, yeah, sure. No, illegal means you are a criminal. How can you go to somebody else's country to go commit a crime? You should be arrested and deported. And unfortunately, our government is not doing that. That's why I'm saying we are fighting even our government. That's allowing terrorist organizations and mafias to function in our land. Dummy.
Are they all doing illegal? No. That's a lie. Excuse for you to stay.
Okay, how do you know? Where do you get your information? I mean, it's ridiculous. It's such a strawman argument to be like, oh, but it's not all of them. Well, nobody's saying it's all of them, but we know that it's majority of them because we are on the ground. We live in the country. You're speaking from outside. You are an outsider. Even if you are a foreigner living in South Africa, you are an outsider. You don't know the inner workings of our country.
Be lazy and not learn. It's an excuse for you.
Hey, there we go. This is what white people are doing to these foreigners. They're putting a battery in their backs and telling them the Black South Africans are lazy. Just like when they were stealing our land and we refused to work on the farms because how can you make me a slave on my own land? And you know what the white people did? They outsourced. They brought slaves on ships from Malaysia, Indonesia, other parts of Africa, from India to come and work and be slaves. That's what you guys are fighting for. You are fighting to keep apartheid alive, you so-called Pan-Africanists. When we protest the white man who doesn't want to let go of our land and who's paying us a slave wage, we say, no, we're not going to work for that. And then Africans come and say, no, we'll work for it. And then the white man tells these Africans, yeah, these Black South Africans are lazy. If you look at foundational Black Americans, the same thing is happening in America, where they're replacing the Black Americans with these immigrants from Africa who are desperate. And then they're putting a battery on their backs and saying, hey, don't hang out with foundational Black Americans. They're lazy. It's the same playbook that you guys keep falling for. You guys think you're so much more advanced than us, but you're falling for a very basic scheme that's being perpetuated in other parts of the world. You could learn a lot from us because we understand what's going
on. Use the truth behind it forward because
guys, go and read France, the capitalist Negro. What happened with these people is that they're really white people just with black skin. They've adopted the culture of the white colonial master of being capitalists. They don't have any other values, their tradition, their heritage. All they talk about is money, 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 money. So some countries, they don't worship money the way that you guys do. You think the end of how much money you have. Some of us, we value things like our culture and we want to our culture because of the rich history. You will never understand that because you guys are capitalist Negroes. That's all you are, part of the bourgeoisie, and you think you're better because you've reached a certain pinnacle in the white man's system, your own system. You're working in the white system, you reached a certain pinnacle now where you feel like you can start preaching to other people about how. Guys, read Frantz Fanon. He covers, this guy has no new idea. This has been covered. He's identity is when Frantz Fanon talks about capitalist Negro. That's bizarre.
You are lazy. You put it in front of the idea of progress. Go learn.
Everything he's accusing Black South Africans of being is exactly what he is, but he's trying to hide it behind his Africans. What is giving us credit? Slave, bro. And I'm absolutely love it. So, and some people are trying to go to the they're working for. Differences. There are people about their country. For me, not countries for them. That's the moment. You're a spoiled brat.
From the people, from the Ethiopians before they are illegal. They're not all illegal. If you go to Uganda, you see lots of Ethiopians.
They must do beautiful restaurants in their own countries and develop their own countries. We didn't ask for them to come to our country. That's why problems over time because they have black skin, the apartheid is still one thing.
Wait for you. Nice restaurant. Most of the nice, lavish, nice, even place where you can have a nutrients. Before you hate on them, go learn from them, ask them questions. And
again,
in most cases, they're very open.
that
we
have
work in
ran
community.
away
Some of the nicest supermarkets in Uganda are run by
their own countries.
Ethiopians.
This
now,
is what
in some
he does
countries,
not understand. Some countries don't want foreigners operating businesses and they're well within their rights to feel that way and to think that way. You cannot dictate to sovereign countries how they should operate. Who are you? Who are you to tell indigenous people that this is how they should operate? That's a very imperialistic and colonial mindset, actually, to enforce your way on a people that are clearly not welcoming of it. Leave them alone. This is madness.
you're going to hate the foreigners, but you will let the people from Italy.
This is another one of their go-to arguments
to
say, oh, you love the white man. Bro, foreigners are coming into South Africa to work for the white man. You dumbass. They're literally coming to worship at the feet of the white man and to perpetuate slave labor. We're trying to stop the slave labor. So we're the true Pan-Africanists because we're protesting, we're stopping the slave labor. You guys are coming to perpetuate the slave labor and to perpetuate corruption in our countries. If only you knew how these people, we have laws around how you're allowed to start a business. One of them is that you're supposed to invest 5 million rand. A lot of these people don't have that money. So ask yourself how they're able to establish these companies. Ask yourself, if they're coming, these guys say they're asylum seekers, they're refugees, they don't have money from where they're coming from, and all of a sudden you can access 5 million when you land in South Africa. Anyway, we have a corrupt system in South Africa that we're trying to get rid of that is deliberately excluding Black South Africans from the system. It's the apartheid system. You will not understand this. You are a foreigner. Deal with the issues concerning your own country. But they love to play this emotional blackmail of like, oh, you worship the white man. You all worship the white man. Many of you are trying to skip the country to go work in Europe and America. You love the white man, but you want to preach to us. These guys are hypocrites, man.
The Africans, you don't want the Africans to progress in your country, but the Italian to come and progress. Because
no, we don't want the Italian to come and progress. Hence why we are fighting against colonialism and neo-colonialism. And why can't the African progress in his own country? What's stopping him from progressing in his own country, you dummy?
In your mind, you think what's Italian is must be legal. What's Portuguese, oh, that must be legal. What's Greek, oh, that is definitely, they are white.
The same people you are saying, these white people, what, they're kicking immigrants out of their own countries because their own culture is being taken over by immigrants. Look at what Rome looks like. Look, my previous video, I covered this. People all over the world are tired of immigrants coming into their countries and changing their culture, or let me put it bluntly, contaminating their culture, bringing their own religion and their own way of life and lifestyles and not being compliant to how they do things in that country. So you're talking nonsense. All over the world, people are fed up. It's not just unique to African countries. Everywhere, people are saying people must go back home, go fix your countries.
But what's black, it's definitely...
I mean, guys, essentially what this guy is doing is he's begging. That's all that's happening here. When people say no, why can't you just respect it? Now he's begging and using emotional blackmail and the xenophobia and weaponizing xenophobia and trying to, no, dude, no one feels sorry for you. Fix your country.
Illegal. Even the illegals, you need to understand the functioning of it.
Do you hear the mindset here? Even the illegal things you must understand. No, dude, some cultures don't want criminality in their countries. You're not some lecture. You're not teaching anyone anything here. You're talking out of your ass. That's all you're exposing.
You know, companies such as banks, insurance companies, financial institutions, they hire hackers. You know what's a hacker? A hacker is a person that can get into a computer system.
It's funny. For some reason, right, South Africa must get help from all these African countries that are failing to develop themselves. Doesn't make any sense.
And breach it, get information out of it, extract things out of it. Why do they hire hackers? they hire hackers because hackers can think like other hackers.
This guy wants us to think like criminals. This is your Pan-Africanist guy, right? He wants us to, we must prepare criminality and think like criminals.
Using that logic, they can protect these from being hacked. So you need to understand the modus operandi. How come these people?
I mean, what is this guy's central message? First, he said not all of them are illegal. Now he's saying, yes, they are illegal, but you must learn from them. What are you talking about? This guy has no... Yo, dude. It's because he's getting cooked in the comments by South Africans that are seeing through the nonsense.
People come into my country, they have houses. Well, I don't have. Don't kill them. Go next to them and learn from them. Don't say, don't touch my sister. Let him come next to your sister so you can learn from him. Listen, there's something I learned very early in life. You cannot fight somebody who... And I know the default is, what they're doing is illegal.
You know things we don't, but you can't things you know to develop your own country so that you don't have to bother other people.
It's because your brain refuses to learn. Yes. Even the legal things, you must know it. If it exists, you must know, understand. I'm not saying practice. You need to understand, how did he beat the system? Because it adds blocks into your brain. You twist blame. You need that. Africa need to tolerate and support each other. And I'm not saying you should go to other people's countries and mayhem and start doing illegal things.
You just did. That's exactly what you just said, saying we must learn from criminals. We're encouraging people to go to other people's countries to commit criminality so that the locals can come to them and say, oh, please teach me, master, how did you become such a good criminal? This guy's an idiot, man.
Don't do that. Don't go to other people's land and break the law. Nobody likes
double speak. He wants to have it both ways. He wants to have his cake and eat it. Do you see that? That's why he's contradicting himself in the same video, because he doesn't have a central message outside of the fact that he's just using Pan-Africanism as a veil. That's all. These guys don't care about African people the way they make you think they do. African unity and all of this is just to give him greater access so he can live a softer life away from the country that he's supposed to be developing.
That nobody wants you to come to his house and start shitting around the corner. No one wants you to come to their country and start.
Well, that's what people are doing.
Or disrespecting their culture. Even if you don't agree with it, you can look.
That's literally what people are doing, and you are condoning it by saying we must learn from them. Dumbass.
It. That's what I'm saying to you, brother. Sometimes everything is not resolved by violence. Violence is not the solution to everything. Reject is not.
Again, you think that violence is not the solution to everything, but clearly in the world that we're living in today, violence goes a very long way in helping people get what they want. It goes a long, long way. That's why people have nuclear weapons, my brother. You need to catch up. You need to get with the program. In case you're not aware that there are wars going on all over the world right now. So you think it's not a solution until mineral rights are being signed over to countries with more military power. So clearly something is working that pertains to violence. And I'm not saying that I condone it, but it's a system that clearly is being used by people to get their way. So don't listen to this guy, bro. This guy has no message.
Not a solution to everything. Pushback is not the solution to everything. Sometimes you need to use your smart, your intelligence, your ability to think and see clearly.
Yeah, sometimes you need to use your intelligence and ability to think to solve the problems in your own country, brother. I'm going to leave that at that. This guy had nothing to say. And then I want to come to I love the Toon network. This guy just has so many gems, bro. And he's talking about something very, very important. I'm just going to play a little bit of the introduction, and then I'm going to go to the specific part of the video that I want to share with you guys. But he's a Ghanaian who is absolutely fed up with some of the things that are happening in his country, his great country of Ghana. You know, I love Ghanaians, I love Kenyans, and all South Africans do. We love them because these are people that have such national, and they're very patriotic about the nation. But there's this thing that's been going on with it that is Ghana. Anyway, I'll let him. But certain things, you can't just of people use it. So Pan-African agenda. This is the new, and I like that Toon Network. He sees through this nonsense. Respect Ghana. Listen. Okay, let me just reload. Oh, there you go. Anyway, I love this man. Highly, highly educated, very, very intelligent, well researched, and very respectful, as Ghanaians typically are. And it's important to pay attention to what he's telling us, because much like South Africa and much like countries like Kenya, we're very hospitable. We open our arms to everyone. That's why everyone is in South Africa, every African country, because we have very warm, or they're met with a warm reception. We're very warm and loving people. But when you start to take advantage of that kindness, you're going to see another side to us that you're not going to like. And then you're going to start crying and complaining about xenophobia. But anywhere you go in the world, the indigenous people stand up for themselves. And if they love their country, they're patriotic towards their country. Just like this gentleman here is very patriotic about Ghana. He's not trying to push some weird Pan-Africanist agenda. He's telling people must be respectful. You cannot come and invade a person's land and bring your own tenets and lifestyles and cultures and impose them onto the people and then start declaring that you are the king in a foreign man's land. That's guys, that will not be respected anywhere you go. And you can cry xenophobia as much as you want, but this thing is about respecting the indigenous people who have sacrificed to create the country that you now get to enjoy. Stop being spoiled brats and entitled to what other people have fought for and create your own paradise. Now, I want to continue and show you another scammer who, these people, guys.
It's only gonna be fair,
and a lot of them are living in
their law.
South Africa.
It's only gonna be fair if they revisit their constitution. It's going.
You are listening to a Nigerian man who lives in South Africa. We don't know whether he's legal or illegal. He says that he's selling tires or whatever. Guys, selling tires is not a scarce skill. According to our laws, you must bring a scarce skill to the country. Selling tires is not a scarce skill. So it's questionable. It's questionable how this guy is in the country. But if you go to his page on TikTok, he has the audacity to preach to South Africans about how we should behave, as if he's talking to animals. They speak down on us, and yet they fled to our country to take opportunities that our ancestors fought to give us, not them. And listen to how he's talking down, talking about, oh, but you guys have a law, have a this. I'm surprised these guys know, they claim to know our law. Do they know their own law? Do you know the law in Nigeria? Are you this invested in the politics in Nigeria? Do you challenge and attack your government and the citizens of Nigeria the way that you attack South Africans that are giving you a roof over your head? These guys are cowards, but they're hiding under this veil of Pan-Africanism because they're trying to invade more developed African countries and have access to things that they don't deserve. You cannot reap where you did not sow. You cannot reap where you did not sow. Go work for yourself, for your country, to develop your own country. Stop begging people to feel sorry for you. Now listen to this emotional blackmail. Once again, that's all they can do. These Pan-Africanist scammers, listen.
It's going to be fair if the rightful authorities revisit this thing called law so that it can take its place. You understand? Because I don't understand why ordinary citizens will be acting as though they are in command. I don't understand. Why would you?
We are in command. We are the ones that put the politicians and the government in place. And if they're not doing their jobs, we'll take matters into our own hands. We are the ones. Indigenous people are the ones in charge. It's our land. It's our country. You're not going to come and tell us what we should be doing. Go to Nigeria and go make these decrees to Tinubu. You get your head blown off. In an instant, those Nigerian police and military are not playing with you guys. They'll blow your head off in broad daylight. You're lucky that here in South Africa, we at least give you some semblance of dignity. In your home country, you're not treated with any dignity and respect. You get your head blown off for talking this nonsense, but you want to come to South Africa and open your mouth. You hypocrites. You guys don't care about Pan-Africanism. You are opportunists.
Would you be denying people access to health care when your constitution say you don't have right to deny anybody of medical care?
No, you don't know what the Constitution says. That's why you can't quote it. The Constitution does not say that we must provide free healthcare for criminals that are in the country illegally. The context of any constitution is written in light of the citizens of that nation. Imagine a country that says anybody from anywhere all over the world can come to our country and use the taxpayers' resources. That country is going to be depleted very soon, especially if they're allowed to come to the country illegally. So you're condemning one crime but not the other. Why don't you condemn the people that are crossing the border illegally? You excuse that because you say, oh, but they're desperate. Yeah, South Africans are also desperate to receive the same things that they're paying taxes for. Why don't you feel any sympathy for them? You only feel sympathy towards foreigners? You are fake Pan-Africanists, man. So it's okay for South Africans to die and suffer. But as soon as other Africans from around the globe suffer, all of a sudden their pain must be put higher and above the suffering of Black South Africans. You guys are not slick at hiding your hatred for Black South Africans. You're jealous. That's all this is about. Now you want to talk about the Constitution that you can't even quote. We have actual laws. Our immigration laws talk about how immigrants must come into the country with their own medical insurance. So why would it say come into the country with your own medical insurance and then at the same time say that you can receive free healthcare as an illegal foreigner? No, dude, foreigners must have their own medical insurance from their own countries. Anywhere all over the world, that's how it works, dummy.
Okay. Why? Why will you stop people from receiving treatment in your hospital when your constitution
It's our
allows
money.
them to receive medical care from your hospital? This is hate. This is hate.
Nobody's denying them medical care. You see, these guys don't know the Constitution. If they want to get medical care, they can go to the private sector and pay for the medication. Nobody's stopping them. Go to the private sector and go pay. These public hospitals that foreigners are coming and flooding so they can take medication. They go to 10 different hospitals to take medication so they can take it back to their country and sell it at a profit. We already know the crime syndicates that are going on. We're not stupid. You guys always act blind and dumb to the bad things that are going on in the country to hide behind Pan-Africanism. These guys are not sick. They're not critical. They're coming here to steal medication because it's a business to go sell this stuff back in their home countries. You don't know what again, here's another African who doesn't know what the hell they're talking about, that wants to dictate to South Africans how they should behave in their own country. No one's stopping them from going to private hospitals. Go and pay at a private hospital. There's no one stopping you. Why won't they do that? There's no freebies. South African taxpayers pay for these services in their own country, and that's why they deserve them. You guys are foreigners who are breaking the law. You should be in jail or deported. You don't belong in the country.
And it is not good. And the South African government needs to do something about it. This Operation Dudula, Patriotic Alliance, whatsoever.
Brother, the government of the country answers to us. They answer to us. We put them there. They answer to us. So the fact that you're trying to trigger the government to launch an attack on its people, that's treasonous. You're basically threatening us using our own government.
We all know what you people are doing. We all know the people that sent you people. We know that you're not acting according to how you're supposed to act. You are acting according to what your bosses told you to act, because you people want to take power.
Do you know how crazy these people sound when they're telling us about South Africa, saying we're trying to take power? No, the power is in the hands of the people, you dummy. The power is already in our hands. These officials are there to serve us, the people. You don't know what you're talking about because you come from a failed state. You cannot preach to us. Go fix your country in Nigeria.
All right. But there is something that is very, very important that you all do not know. You all do not know that anybody who kicks a ball to the wall will definitely receive that ball back. What you people are doing is definitely out of it, and it is not good. Stop.
He just made a threat. He's a foreigner in our country making threats to our people. That's an act of terrorism. He's like, I'll tell you something you don't know, and he makes some stupid metaphor about a ball, which basically means that he's trying to play victim to justify the retaliation. That's what America does. They start wars, they play victim, and act like they're the ones being attacked, which justifies the thing they always wanted to do, which is to invade a country. So what we're seeing here is them laying the groundwork for an invasion. All these African countries that are speaking negatively about us are desperately trying to invade South Africa and replace Black South Africans. This is very serious. He's making a threat to retaliate based on a false premise, false information. He doesn't understand what the hell he's talking about. He doesn't understand our laws. He's a foreigner. But now he's saying, okay, it's time for revenge. You know, you made up an entire narrative about xenophobia, and I'm going to prove to you that this is a narrative. This xenophobia thing is a complete narrative. It's a complete lie for people that seek to exploit the opportunities and resources of more developed African countries. That's all it's about. And we're not stupid. We see exactly what's going on.
Denying people access to your clinics. The fact that they are foreigners doesn't stop them from receiving medical care.
No one's denying them access to medical treatment. They must go to private hospitals and go pay. That's what the law says. You must have your own medical insurance to receive medical care in South Africa. If you don't, go cry to your own government to give you medical care. We're not your government.
And it is not their fault that your constitution or your country made it like that. In their country, they might not be enjoying free medical care. In their country, there might not be anything like free education.
So why don't you go and complain to those governments to give you free medical care? Isn't it crazy that they will excuse those governments and say, well, this government doesn't provide A, B, C, D, so yeah, it's okay. Why aren't you crying that it's a human rights violation? Because your argument is that everybody deserves free healthcare, right? So in the countries where they're not receiving free healthcare, why don't you go complain to those governments to give them free healthcare? Instead, you're coming to a foreign country that has tried to be nice to you guys and said, okay, no, we know you're breaking the law, but we allowed it. But now it's affecting the lives of South Africans because we're not able to gain access to things that we pay taxes for. So we're kicking you out. We're actually enforcing the law. And now you entitled brats want to tell us what to do instead of telling your own governments to give you free healthcare. Why don't you have the guts to tell Tinubu to give you free healthcare? You want to come to South Africa to demand it. You want free healthcare, right? Go fight for it in your own country.
In their country, there might not be anything like, but your country was fair enough, was human enough to make these things possible.
Yes. So now go fight so that your own country can be fair and human enough towards you. Why do you let your own country off the hook, but you want to hold South Africa accountable for trying to help you? You let your own country off the hook. You say, yes, in those countries, it's okay. They don't provide this, that, and that. Okay, go fight that they may give it to you. The same way you're criticizing us. Take this energy and give it to Tinubu and tell him we want free healthcare. Be kind and humane to us. That's why this is disingenuous. It's insincere what they're doing. They're trying to basically collapse South Africa and punish Black South Africans. That's really what this thing is about.
So do not deny people those access. It is not right. Do not deny people those access. And another thing I want to let you people know is that, you see Dudula?
You can't say it's not right after you just said that other countries are not offering it. So is it right for other countries to not offer it? Everywhere all over the world, they don't give you free healthcare as a foreigner. Is it right for them to not offer it? So we're doing the same thing all those other countries are doing, and yet you're saying, oh, but it's wrong. It's not right to do it. Who are you to tell us what's right and wrong in our own country? Go cry to Sweden and go cry to other countries and say, hey, give us free healthcare. As illegal foreigners in your country, we demand free healthcare. Go to Asia, go demand free healthcare as an illegal foreigner and see what they do to you.
You see Patriotic Alliance, you see Action SA, all these groups.
Now you see he's talking against the movement that is starting in South Africa and gaining momentum, where the citizens are pushing back against the government's bad treatment. You can't. I mean, I'm sure these guys are paid to push these agendas and to try to make South Africans look like we're xenophobic. Meanwhile, they're actually the xenophobic ones.
Groups are funded by politicians, the opposition parties. They are being funded, they are being sponsored. The people at the top are the ones enjoying it, and they are using the brain of the ordinary South Africans.
I mean, these guys, they don't know what the fuck they're talking about. They don't know what they're saying. The opposing parties are funding Dudula. He's Dululu. That's what's going on here. I mean, absolutely. He doesn't know. This guy, you can tell, is not a very intelligent guy. Neither is he very educated. And he's here on a high horse preaching to South Africans, saying in our brain as if we are the stupid ones. But every time he opens his mouth, he exposes how dumb he is.
Black South Africans. So you people need to wake up and realize.
My question is he as clued up on Nigerian politics and which party and which group is sponsoring who? Does he talk about those things about his own country? I'm sure he doesn't, but they want to open their mouths to talk about South Africa. Hypocrites.
Realize that you are destroying your country with your own hands.
No, you foreigners are destroying South Africa, and you're doing it deliberately because you want to take over.
This issue of Medicare, you need to be taken seriously, because a lot of people are dying on a daily basis because they are.
Yes, South Africans are dying on a daily basis because they're not receiving their medication, because illegal foreigners are coming into the country, taking them into putting medication into buses to deprive our people of the necessary medical care that they need. We have a country budget that budgets for the citizens. We don't budget for the entire freaking world. That's not sustainable. We budget for our people. So when you come and you steal medication from us and send it back to your country to go and sell at a profit, that's corruption. Instead of you speaking out against that, you're criticizing South Africans for doing what's best for their own people to make sure their own people can survive. We cannot take care of the whole of the African continent, and nor do you care about the African continent. You only care about getting your way and trying your best to destroy Black South Africans so that you guys can replace us. It's just jealousy. Now, I want you to watch how a Kenyan, and again, I showed you a Ghanaian and a Kenyan because I love these people. They're very similar to South Africa in terms of values. And she exposes the fact that she's only now waking up to the fact that the xenophobia tag that's been put on South Africa is basically a targeted attack. Listen to what she says.
So let's go back to the topic of xenophobia in South Africa for a bit. And I'm just starting to realize, yes, shocker, I am just realizing that we've been lied to. Once again, like every other thing, we have been lied to. There's this narrative that has always been pushed that Black South Africans are very xenophobic towards other Africans. And it's always other Africans as an entire continent. The agenda being pushed out and the lies being pushed out is South Africans are very xenophobic towards all other Africans. But they never tell you where this chaos started. It's always, oh, they're jealous of other Africans going to their country and making money. They are jealous instead of doing the same businesses and competing. They are just worshipping the white people. Those are the things that make it to the media. It's not me. I grew up seeing it. I grew up discussing it, thinking Black South Africans were xenophobic. Until recently, when I saw videos of South Africans throwing away bad food, expired food that was being sold by foreigners in their country, and it led to deaths. And I was like, wait a damn minute. So you're telling me this whole time we're being told that South Africans are not good and they hate other Africans, and they are literally worshipping the white people. That's why they're not, instead of kicking out the white people, they want to kick out the black people. When that's actually not true. These illegal migrants, illegal immigrants in their country are literally doing harm. And somehow South Africans, the Black South Africans, are supposed to be chill about it, because when they talk, they're xenophobic. No. So why is it that there's this false narrative?
She's asking all the right questions. Why is it that there's this false narrative against Black South Africans? Why are we being villainized? A few months ago, they were saying Black South Africans are killing white people on farms. There's a farm murder, genocide. And Black South Africans are being blamed, even though the crimes are being committed by the illegal foreigners that are working for these farmers as cheap labor. These farmers are hiring these farmers are hiring illegal foreigners with no paperwork because they don't want to pay them properly. And in the process, they're getting themselves killed by these illegal foreigners. But then the crime statistics don't separate and differentiate the nationality and who's killing who. They just say South Africans, and it's assumed it's Black South African men that are doing it, even though we have nothing to do with those killings. It's another false narrative that was designed to destroy Black South Africans. So yet again, the xenophobia, and you must ask yourself, who's behind this bad media press, this smear campaign against Black South Africans? No prizes for guessing who. The same colonial master that's in charge of the apartheid system, that's using Blacks that are for rented Blacks, to destroy our country so that foreigners can come and replace us. That's the agenda. That's what's being pushed here. It's neo-colonialism, and they're using Black faces, Black people, to perpetuate this apartheid agenda or the apartheid system. Because why are we getting such negative press and Africans are being programmed to believe that we are the enemy? So this woman has figured it out. But she says when she grew up, she had no idea because they never reported on what the foreigners were doing in South Africa. They only say, oh, look, Black South Africans are xenophobic. They don't tell you what happened. No context is given. They just look at when Black South Africans now defend themselves, and they use that to fuel the xenophobia narrative with no context. It's done deliberately. Smart people can pick up on it, like this woman over here. She's smart. She gets it. She understands what's going on. Dumb people like that guy that I played in my first video don't understand it. And anyway, those types of people have an agenda anyway. to see Black South Africans destroyed, to give them easy access to things that our ancestors fought and died for. If that weren't the case, why won't they leave us alone? Leave South Africans alone. Focus on other African countries or focus on your own country. But you guys are obsessed with invading South Africa. Why? There's an agenda here. That's why they won't leave us alone. They don't want peace. They want war with us.
That has been spread for years. And I used to think that even when I was in high school, when the first major incident of xenophobia happened and the news was showing South Africans saying every African needs to go back to their country. And it was like, damn, what did we do? Until TikTok, when I realized they have a specific list of countries in Africa that they do not want in their country because of their misbehavior. Very valid reasons, actually. It is Zimbabwe, it is Nigeria, and it is Somali. Let's be honest, Nigeria is an issue with every single country. Majority of the countries in the world have an issue with Nigeria, so that's valid. Somali, we Kenyans just had an issue with Somali just a few months ago. I don't know about Zim because we've not interacted with them. And it's just like, so why are the media outlets not painting the actual picture? Why bring division? Why make it as if Black South Africans just generally hate other people? And as basically it's trying to say that
I'll tell you for free, it's because the colonial masters under this regime of neocolonialism or neo-apartheid, if you want to call it that, are using rented Blacks, who are these Africans that will, take whatever money, because I told you they worship money. That's all they care about. That's why they've got no morals. They don't sort of venerate their cultures and cultural leaders. They just care about who's making money, who's got the most money. Capitalist Negroes. But anyway, they're using Africans as pawns to create instability, just like what is happening everywhere or most countries in Africa, where there's instability. The West is sponsoring the instability, using Blacks that look like me and you to destabilize those countries. Africans are being used as pawns to destabilize South Africa because the white races don't want to get their hands dirty by being the ones that massacre and genocide us. So they're going to use, or they are using, Africans who are desperate from the continent to be the one to wage war against us and massacre us and wipe us out. It's going to be a DRC Rwanda situation very soon in South Africa because of these foolish Africans that don't understand that they're being used as pawns.
It's because they're worshipping their white people, when in reality that's not true. And white South Africans also don't want other white people from other areas to come to Cape Town. And I'm like, why are they not telling us that? Why is it not that a Nigerian illegal immigrant has been caught selling drugs in South Africa, which has caused an uproar? It is always South Africans hate Nigerians because they are jealous. Like, what? That's not fair, though. That is absolutely not fair. But then again, when you think about it, the whole point is to just cause division, because there was a time when we as a continent stood together to fight against colonization. And especially, let me speak for my country, Kenya was very vocal. We were ready to completely stop negotiating with the UK. What the name of this woman, the one that died? Oh, Elizabeth, that Shuri, completely cut off ties if they did not stop the apartheid that was going on in South Africa. Like, we were ready to fight. We literally actually fought together, if I'm not wrong.
I like how she said that, cherry. We say the same thing in South Africa, cherry. But what's nice about Kenyans is when they help other countries, they don't now hold it over your head to say, yeah, but we did this for you, we did this for you, we did this for you. This is what kills Pan-Africanism, where you help somebody or you do something for someone, and then after that, you want to claim that. And if you look very carefully, all the countries that have helped South Africa significantly during apartheid are not begging for us to give them things. They're minding their own business, working on themselves in their own countries. There's all these countries that didn't do anything, that are trying to claim that they are the saviors of South Africa, that they saved us from apartheid. Okay, if you saved us from apartheid, save yourselves from Tinubu. Save yourselves from your governments. Show us. Do it again. Let's see. You can't. So shut up.
And that's the thing. You don't have to support people by going to their country, and that's basically what South Africans are saying. And I absolutely agree with it as a Kenyan. Why do you want to support other people by going to their country? How about you fix your country first? And I'm saying this without fear of contradiction as a Kenyan. Any African country that refuses to fight back against any colonizing regime or corrupt leader should not be going to other people's countries. Especially you've seen us fight for our country. Then
I hope you heard it, you so-called fake Pan-Africanists. You fake Pan-Africanists. Even a Kenyan here is telling, so you don't have to hear it from me, a South African. You can hear it from a Kenyan that's telling you, fight the regimes, fight your governments, leave other countries alone. Stop trying to manipulate and emotionally blackmail other countries to feel sorry for you and create these narratives to try to destroy countries that are trying to develop themselves. You jealous bunch of... Here you're hearing it from another African saying, guys, stay in your own countries and fight against the regimes instead of running away.
Then you want to come and enjoy the benefits of us fighting for our country. How's that fucking fair? Okay, yeah, so if every single African country is running away because they have issues, then we are going to lose the entire continent. Wouldn't it be better if every single one of us fought for our countries? Nigeria, I'm speaking to you, fought for our countries, and then we can all enjoy this entire continent free from colonization and bad leadership as a continent. How about we do that?
When South Africans say it, we're called xenophobic, but that's the only logical way to do this. You cannot talk about Africa coming together in African unity until you develop your own countries. What are we unifying for? We're unifying our poverty. We're unifying our corruption. Fix the poverty, fix the corruption. It's not to say we can't trade with one another. You don't have to be in my country living there with, permanently for us to trade. That's why I say these fake Pan-Africanists are just scammers that are looking for access to the resources and countries that people have fought and died for. You cannot lay claims to a country that's not yours. You cannot reap where you did not sow. We see through the BS. Try a different tactic.
You see, you guys are jealous. No, we are not. We are telling you to go back and fight for your bloody country. And I'm saying it as a Kenyan too. This is not even just about South Africa, because this negative painting issue is just meant to completely bring division among the African countries. But let's actually speak as an African country. Some of you, Zimbabwe, I'm speaking to you, need to fight back. You saw Mozambique do it. You saw Kenya do it. You can do it. Nigeria, you're 560 how many million people? For fuck's sake. That old man needs to get out of that chair. If South Africa is currently fighting to remove Ramaphosa, cupcake. If Kenya is currently fighting to remove Ruto, why are you not doing anything? Oh, this country is very corrupt. Fix it. We all are trying. Fix that goddamn country. Once you fixed it, you literally have the benefits to enjoy the entire continent, because why not? But now if you become a flight risk to every single country, Nigeria, surely. Anyway.
Very well said, my lady. Very well said from a fellow African. So come, accuse me of being xenophobic. Let's hear it. You guys are you're out of strategies. Your scam is not going to work. This fake Pan-Africanism is not going to work. We see through it. Countries that are serious about developing their countries and that are patriotic about their own countries, they are fighting to end corruption and end poverty, while the rest of you are trying to run away and go on vacation and travel visa-free and enjoy nyash. That's what a lot of you men want. You want nyash, you African men. That's what you care about, is nyash and chasing after money, legal or illegal, instead of building your culture, building your nations, developing your countries. Cowards. Sonwalon, Fotzek.